we had the pick with Kevin. But what I would say about the scrimmage is we didn't love the way we started. I mean, it was down there in 7-shot, 3-point play. A little bit lack of execution on 3 of the 4 plays. And then we had a red zone series. Didn't tackle great or didn't execute great. But after that, when we put the ball down from the 25, the guys really started to play good, a little bit cleaner. So overall, I think we tackled better. Thought the communication was pretty solid outside of the start of the scrimmage. Would have liked to start faster. We hit the rep counts with the guys we want to hit the rep counts with, and saw some good things from some of the guys we needed to see from.
Some of the communication, is it because of inexperienced guys or younger groups playing?
No, just there'd be a talker, not a listener, or a guy waiting for a call that didn't get it. I mean, things that can't happen in the red zone, and sometimes it happened, and still happen on those plays. And sometimes the play still ended in success for us. Sometimes they ended, but it's about that process of being on the same page, especially down there in the red zone where there's just so many different moving parts.
Coach to helmet communications on defense, how has that gone for y'all?
It's gone well. Even Saturday we tried to introduce the first scrimmage. We really didn't control the dots. Like, we had 2 guys out on the field at the same time. We weren't worried about the equipment part of it. This past Saturday we actually involved the equipment staff with the second helmet because that happens, right? If I've got a dot and I'm subbing in, but the dot's already on the field, I got to grab my other helmet. So the equipment staff is part of that rotation too. So we involved that piece too. But there's parts, and you got to start with whoever has the dot basically becomes the voice of the defense. And you guys got to understand that it's not a suggestion. You know, when they say, hey, we're doing this to that set in the moment, like we had it Saturday, we had a pressure called and the look wasn't right the way we were doing it. It was sound, it just wasn't what we wanted. And so I was able to communicate it to the dot. He got it fixed, everything got respun, and we were able to execute it the way that we wanted to execute. So, there's some definitely advantages to it, but then there's some, okay, when this happens, how you gonna, whether the radio goes out, where they can't hear you because the volume didn't go up because of the way they tackled somebody. Like, there's all those other things that your guys have to get used to. We run practices, practicing with the dot being out. We practice with, say, the dot goes down and you can't sub a guy on the field. So we're dealing with signals still, and we're dealing with the helmet communication. We're trying to put ourselves in all, it's just like any new rule. 2-minute rule, got certain things we got to go through with it.
I assume the dot means the player that has
yes, sir.
the helmet.
Yeah, they actually have a green dot on the helmet. So I'm pretty good with shapes and colors. So kind of operate with, we're referring to it as the dot, right? So the dot's live, that type of stuff.
So every rule change over the last 20 years has favored the offense. Is then helmet communication still favor the offense, or do you guys maybe have?
I don't think any of the rules favor the offense, to be honest with you. I think they all, if used right defensively, they all, because it just makes your players more intelligent, right? You give them, like today, we watched a full targeting tape and, how to tackle people in those moments, how to, be good around the quarterback with high hands, sliding quarterbacks. I think you got to embrace all those rules, tell them this is for the betterment of the sport overall. I think the worst thing a coach can do is take the side of these rules, are BS. They're not made to help us. They're a disadvantage. It's us against the world. I just think it gives a bad mindset. So accept the rules, understand it's for the betterment of the entire sport, then use them to the advantage of your side of the ball.
We saw Kevin have a couple of nice plays today. What does he give you as just a guy's been in the system so long?
Smart, quick, really good ball skills. Has played a lot of different positions on our defense, so he's got a good sense of the big picture. With him, just it is hard when you're moving guys at different positions. There's some positive to it. We've seen that Jarian Jones and guys that we've done it with, but some guys, they just got to get back comfortable in that world. And I think Kevin's somebody that has executed at a high level lately in the defense the last couple of days. He's got his hand on a lot of footballs, so I think him and Earl are really coming along.
How is Marvin? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. How is Marvin looking?
Marvin Jones?
Yeah.
Good. He was a little bit banged up early, so now we're back to full speed. So just putting a high level of reps on him right now to make sure. But I saw when he was at full speed in the spring, and I'm starting to see that point again in the fall. He had a really good summer of training, and he's got the pieces that you look for in our defensive defense.
The interior D-line depth after Josh and Daryl, how has it come on during the preseason? Has a guy like Daniel Line started taking the next step you guys want to see from him?
Yeah, I think Danny's been really consistent the last week and a half, 2 weeks. really good point of attack player, and we're proud of the way Danny's coming. And so he's going to be an important piece of that rotation.
What about the other guys? KJ Sampson.
Oh, hi, Danny.
What's up, Coach?
How you doing, buddy? I didn't just talk good because you were there. Much respect.
Yeah, you say his name, he appears. The other guys beyond him in that depth group, Sampson and Kelly, so on and so forth, how have they done?
Good. I've said before, right now, in a perfect world, we've got 6. And obviously 6-5-4-3, got to play. That we're just going to rotate guys to rotate them. They got to be good enough to perform on the field. I'm not just going to say we have depth, so we're going to rotate them. They've got to be to a certain standard. But around here, we want to play numbers at that position because we want to play our best football in the fourth quarter. We want to play our best football at the end of the season, and we want to give guys that deserve snaps, especially in a physical demanding position like that. So the invitation is open for all 6, but those invitations will be taken and given based off opportunities that they take advantage of in practice.
Coach,
Yes.
Coach Ravel was saying that you guys have turned a little bit towards Georgia Tech today. What are things that they present this defense to?
They had a great year on offense. They led the ACC in rushing, and their quarterback led the ACC in touchdowns, passing touchdowns. So people don't really talk about them in that way, but watching that Georgia game, and any team that does a really good job running the football, they have explosive guys in the perimeter that are track athletes. They definitely pose their challenges, and you got to lean your defense to really, whether it's taking away certain receivers, taking away the run game, especially the quarterback run game. Those are all decisions you make down to down. And so, they definitely, they had a very successful year. They get everybody back, and I know they're really confident.
What's your defensive focus between now and the ballgame?
Just the discipline details, right? Just the discipline that it takes, trying to play penalty-free, making sure our execution level's up, the details of the technique, the details of just how the effort looks like that we're playing. And so I feel good about the group of core people that we have, but it's the details of the playing together, the execution, the effort it takes to play down after down, and just be able to respond to whatever comes up in the course of a game, because all that's coming.
If I could follow up Chris's question with the depth at the defensive end position and your linebacker play.
Yeah, well, at defensive end, ideally we're always trying to play 4. There's a chance we've got a 5th, that we could help situationally. It's all fun and games to say what the numbers are. Obviously over the next 2 weeks, we really narrow in on, whether that's 3 or 4 or 5 people actually playing, and then what does that look like for the 5th guy, for the 3rd guy, for the 4th guy. So we're still going through that, but I do feel good about, Aaron Hester, Newsy, Byron, all those guys trying to give us some snaps, Marvin and Pat. And at linebacker, we're getting DJ's back. He was a little bit banged up, but he's practicing good lately. I think Cam's come on. Juice and Blake have done a good job, and then OG's played good football, and he's healthy for the first time in probably a year and a half. So you always got to have 6 ready for 2 deep in base. Traditionally, usually we played 4, but with special teams now and the amount of snaps we got, I'm sure all 6 of those linebackers will be playing on kicking game and defense.
The safety spot besides Shy, how has Devontae and Conrad competed with one another? What's some of the other guys that give to you guys at the position?
Good. You mentioned 3 of them, but I thought KJ Kirkland, has really started to take some steps. Ash has come. Those guys are kind of rotating through a little bit, and then we're using Duke Cooper in a multiple different positions. Trying to use his experience, whether it's at nickel, whether it's at dime, whether it's at safety. Trying to train him like that.
Anything else? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.